Well, hello and welcome back. This is Module 5. It's the review. The review started on page 292 of your textbook. And in previous videos, we worked our way through steps 1 through 11, and now we're beginning with step number 12. The assumption I make at this point is that you have made a backup of your application before we begin step 12. And I say that because if something goes awry and it doesn't work for you, I don't want you to have to go back to step number 1 to start over again. We want steps 1 to 11 protected. So please begin a backup right now. Okay, I'm going to assume that anybody who's passed 55 seconds in this video has a backup copy of their application and they're ready to go. Step number 12 says that we're going to change the supplier ID field within the TBL product table, and we're going to make it so that it's a lookup field. So there are a couple of steps that we need to do in order to do that. First, we're going to select the TBL product table, but first I want you to go to the Database Tools tab and choose the Relationship command. And within the relationship, all right, take a look at that. There's a one-to-many relationship between TBL suppliers and TBL product. We're going to delete that relationship. Use the tip of the arrow of the mouse right on it so that you can highlight it or select it. Then right-click it and choose Delete. You'll get a warning message and then choose Yes. And then we'll close the relationship. It'll ask you, are you sure? Yes. Okay, let's go back to the TBL product table in Design View. Design View, open up, and then we'll select the Supplier ID field and look at the data type. The data type is currently short text. We're going to change that to Lookup Wizard, and then we will begin a dialog. So I'm not going to go too terribly fast here. I want the lookup field to get the value from another table or query, and that's true. Select Next. Which table or query should provide the values? The TBL supplier table should provide the values from my lookup field, and Next. Which field in the supplier contains the value you want to include in your lookup field? Okay, so we want both the supplier ID and the company name, and then select Next. And what order do we want to sort them in? I would like to sort them in the company name, and choose Next. Okay, the author said to not hide the record key. I will not take points off if you forget that, but just for demonstration purposes, I'll remember. And then I'm going to remember to move the supplier ID to the right side of my display, and then I'll choose Next. And then it says you can select a row of value in your database. It would be the supplier ID, then choose Next, and we'll call it supplier ID and choose Finish. Table has to be saved. I choose Yes, and then I want to see the results. And as you can see, there's the supplier ID. I'm going to widen it so that you can see the whole thing. Now, if I want to change it, all right, let's take autoclave, the second record, and now you can see that they are sorted alphabetically. And I'll say, hey, EBI is going to take that now. And then I'll change it back to autoclave again. Or what was it? and then save your work. Alright, so the next step in my video is use the input mask wizard to add an input mask to the phone field in the TBL supplier table. So we're done with this one, and we'll select yes. Go to the supplier table, right click, go to the design view, and then go to the phone number. Okay, so this is an input mask. There's an input mask property, and on the far right end of this is an ellipses, and we choose that. And we know it's a phone number because it has 10 digits, and we'll choose next. And the input mask that we choose will have, not the one you see here, but it will have dots. So we have to have dots. Let's start with the exclamation point. 999.000.1234. Let's see if I got that one. Only the last 7 digits are required. Well, that's an outdated requirement now, isn't it? Do not store the literal display characters. Let's see, where do we get to designate that? Click next. There we go, without the symbols in the mask. There we go. And choose next. And finish. Okay, and there's our phone number. So if we choose to display that, we go to the datasheet view. We're going to save the table first. Okay, and there's our phone numbers. Okay, so that's step number 13. Now we'll move on to step number 14, or no? Okay, yes we will. We're going to begin with a cross-tab query based on the TBL supplier table. Use the category field values for the row headings and the supplier ID value for the column headings. All right, so the first thing we'll do is we'll close this table, and then we'll create a query wizard, a cross-tab query wizard, and choose OK. Okay. So which table contains the fields you want for the cross-tab results? It's on the supplier table. Choose next. Which one has the row headings? All right, we want the category as the row headings. And choose next. Which field has the column headings? The column headings will be the supplier ID. Choose next. And we want a count. So we've got that one already set. An account of the company, and that's already set. As the summarized field, yes, we include sums. That's this checkbox right here. Make sure that one says yes, include row sums. Make sure that one is selected. And choose next. And then we'll give the object a name. QRY supplier category cross tab, and let's take a look at the query. Finish. It's difficult to read for most folks, but that is exactly what the author had intended. You know, there's a one for equipment and a resale and a supplies, but here's the important part. This is the column that has the sum in it. So if you get a 3, an 11, and a 7, that's what you were looking for. And that concludes step number 14. And we'll pick it up again in the next video.